All right, guys, welcome back. Dave here with my good friend David, and we're going to be talking about how to build a software company, even if you don't know how to code or program or anything about that. Really, the reason I reached out to David is just because as we grow more and more into building software with developing pay funnels and other future products, I want to learn about that. And so this is really kind of a selfish interview here where I just want to find out what a guy that knows what he's doing a little bit further down the path is doing. So David, welcome on to the interview. We're excited to have you here, man.
Thanks so much for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and just excited to help out as I can.
Yeah, dude, tell us. We've kind of Facebook messaged back and forth for a while. I've seen you around for, I don't know, a year or so, and just always like, what's this guy up to? So it's good to actually hop on a call. I feel like I've got all these Facebook friends that I kind of see them around. I know what your profile picture looks like, but we don't really get on calls too often. So anyway,
we'll have to change that.
I know, dude. This is the start. This is the start of something good. So yeah, dude, so I want to talk about Demio. I want to talk about Systemizely, some other stuff you've worked on, but just so people know where you've come from, give us kind of the backstory on how you even got started in all this.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a crazy backstory, and I'll kind of give you a quick version of it. But when I graduated college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I moved out to Florida, was working as a server, and I hated it. I hated my job, and I saved up all my money, and I wanted to go do something crazy. I wanted to go travel. So I told my boss to go to hell, quit my job, went and traveled to Europe for a few months, came back dead broke, $0 in my bank account, and drove back across the country with my tail between my legs. Went back to Arizona, stayed at my parents' house for 1 week, and I was like, this is not going to work. And I'm 24 years old. So I moved up to Phoenix, stayed on my friend's couch for about a month, and I took out a loan from a bank just to survive, and I took an unpaid internship at a marketing company. And that's really where my start into marketing came. I started as an unpaid intern, worked 3 months there, worked my butt off, got hired on, and became the internet marketing director within 6 months. So I just kind of worked really hard, kind of learned everything I could. Within 2 years, I felt I had the knowledge to kind of go off and do something on my own. I knew I just wanted to create something better. So I created my first agency, which was a web design and development agency. And truthfully, I kind of just got sucked into it. It was something that I could do. I knew I could get clients. I knew the marketing side of it, but I got sucked into it. And that was kind of my first real introduction to hiring and processes and procedures. I had a partner at that time who left the company, and it kind of made me learn a lot about managing people. I was in the company so much. I was doing so many things. I had my hands on so many things that it just failed miserably. We made a lot of good money, but I hated every day. And, I just learned coming out of that, I just said, okay, I have to do things totally different the next time. So the next thing I did was open an agency with another friend of mine who was just great at sales. So he brought in all our leads, and I built the marketing funnels and the technology and everything on the back end. And I brought in a great team. I learned how to hire the right people. I systemized the whole thing so that there was procedures every day. So I basically just kind of ran the operations of the company. My partner brought in the sales. And, that was my real big introduction into operations management. And I just figured it all out from there, read a lot of books. But our goal was to get into software. We wanted to say, hey, we could take this stuff that we know, and instead of doing this service-based work, let's move it into service as a software. So about 2 years ago, I got into my first software. I would say my first three, I learned a lot from them. They were I wouldn't say they were failures. One, I would say was a failure. The other two were good. Both have been sold at this point. After that, I started working in Demio about 2 years ago, and it's been a really long, intense project, building a smart webinar platform built for marketing and sales. We learned a lot on that journey. I've also done consulting for projects and pretty much giving people all the knowledge that I've learned throughout the process, where to find the right people, how to do the right things, because every time I do one of these projects, I learn so much, and I really do enjoy teaching it to other people. So that's one of the reasons you had me on this call.
Totally. Dude, very cool. So I feel like you've come from probably a very similar background to 90% of the people that are listening to this. They're getting marketing clients, they're building funnels. It's kind of at the start, it's just a problem getting people to pay you. But then what I've found is you start to get good at that, and now it becomes a problem building a business where
Right.
making money isn't so much the problem, it's making it and keeping it at the end of the year and walking away with a profit rather than just
Being sane.
totally, totally. So, yeah, I guess as you're an agency, like you said, well, we really wanted to get into software. Talk
Yeah.
about like why. Why as a successful agency getting clients, did you want to get into software? What'd you see there?
Well, for me, I just have never truly enjoyed the service industry as far as getting, managing, maintaining clients. I got really good at like the operational side of things as far as managing client expectations. When someone comes in, we would onboard them the right way. We tell them, here's how you're going to work with us. Here's how it's going to be. Here's the processes we've set up for you. So it's all streamlined. Put them in our project management, systems. We have our VAs or our project managers touch base with them. So it went really well. The problem that we had is that clients still want to be clients, and there's nothing wrong with them like on a real level, but it's like there's a lot of hand holding that happens. At the end of the day, when they buy from a lot of service companies, a lot of times they want to work with you as the expert, and sometimes when your team's there, you're still getting pulled into the creation process or the done for you process, even when there's kind of procedures in place. So for me, it really was like I just wanted to get out of the client business, and I wanted a scalable asset where I could manage a team, manage a company. I got to focus on those aspects of the company rather than dealing with clients and the headaches of that. And especially with web design and development, that was the absolute worst. It was so hard. Like I heard someone the other day say on a webinar say like web design and development is like shooting yourself in the foot with a taser over and over and over. Like it's just so painful.
Dude, it is, man. It is. No, I'm with you. I feel like a lot of people probably resonate with that. When we started our agency, it was just like getting those first couple clients is amazing. And then we got up to, I don't know, 15 or so clients. And it's like having 15 bosses, and they're all kind of mad at you. And I'm like starting to avoid phone calls, and that's like a downward, hole. Once you start like avoiding their phone call, I feel like it's like the beginning of the end. And dude, no, I'm totally with you. So, okay, so you want to get out of services, you want to start delivering something that has leverage and scale
And value.
Okay, yeah. And so why software? I mean, like, are you like, did you know programming? Is that why you want to get into it, or what?
Honestly, it's a great question. And it's a great question that I ask people now when I talk to them. Like, people come to me, they're like, oh, I want to create a software. I'm like, why? Because now after like 5 years of building it, there's so much that goes into it. Sometimes, I think when I first started, it was kind of naivety. Like, I was like, this looks cool. It looks amazing. I know how to hire teams. I know processes. I know systems. And because of the web design development background, the coding stuff became a little bit easier for me. So I think it was an easier transition because I had learned so much about the development languages. Now, I think it's also a really powerful new medium of business moving forward. I think anyone that's going to be able to that wants to strategically scale a software as a service, you have to think, you obviously have to go software. If you have something that's repeatable, you want to go software. Now, in my day-to-day life, and I kind of think about it, there's ideas and stuff that I start thinking of that are outside of software. But during that time, software just seemed cool to me. It seemed like something that I could do. The ideas, you see all these success stories of it. But the truth is that you can also really, excuse my language, lose your ass if you go into software and you are unaware of some of the things that you have to know.
Totally.
That's a big.
Okay, cool. So you kind of had a leg up because like at least you knew basic code. You weren't. It's probably hard for somebody who's 45 years old to get into software, right? It's like you've got a distinct advantage that you're already inside of it and can understand that a little bit. But I guess you didn't know how to code. It's like you're still planning on hiring someone to do it, right?
Exactly. So I didn't know a single thing about code. What I did know was hiring. And I realized that for me, hiring was a couple things. One, it was a clear vision of your business, product, and service. So it's outlining what you're going to create. It's validating the idea before you even go into creating the software. So making sure that people are willing to pull out their wallets and pay for it before you spend a single dollar in development. So validating the idea, knowing that you need to have a good mission and product in place. Because when you're going to hire people, they want to join a company that, one, is going to be a viable company, that they're not going to just be out of business in 6 months, that you have a vision for where you're taking things because people follow visions. That's like leadership. And the last thing is just being clear on like what my spec is, right? Like what the project's going to look like, because that's going to lead me to who I need to hire. So I need to hire a PHP developer or, a front end developer. So being clear on those points. So with that, I could then go out and I could find an A player or a senior developer. Now, by hiring someone that has a lot of experience, you are putting a lot of trust into them, but that also leads back to your hiring process. You better go through a really great hiring process and hire a great person. But if you do that, you can then entrust a lot of that developmental side of things to them, because the truth is that SaaS and software is really only 50% development. The other 50% is marketing and business, the actual traction points, because you could spend a year in development and at the end of it, you say, oh crap, I have no way to sell this product. I don't have customers lined up. I don't have pre-launch, and I've just spent all this money in the past year. So use your time and your skills. So you may be great at business, you may be great at networking, or maybe you're good at getting venture capital. You could be out there raising capital while the development team is running the product. Then you can then hire the right people for the rest of the team. If you want to bootstrap it yourself, maybe you're putting your time into pre-launching and marketing and bringing in prepayments. So you could even pre-sell your software before it's out by being a good marketer and a good salesperson.
Yep. No, dude, I love that. I love that. So I want to get into kind of Demio, because I feel like you guys have you had a few projects, sold them off. So you knew what you were doing more with Demio, and I feel like you've had a really good launch with that. But before we get into that, I want to hear like how do you hire someone? That's what everyone's going to ask me after this. Yeah. Like, how do I hire? How does David hire? Like, how much should I pay him? Should I give him equity? Where do I find him? What advice? Obviously, we don't have time to go into like step by step how to do it. What advice would you give somebody who's looking to hire?
It is such a big question. It's a robust question. I think it's totally unique to each situation. It depends on who you are, where you are, what your business is, what the developer is. Is it a CTO? Is it like just an engineer? Is it a senior? So there's a million ways to answer this question. I would say there's a book that I really love. There's a couple actually. Let me see down here. I think one is, I'm trying to look at my books right here. Oh, Drive. Drive is a great one. Drive is all about what motivates people, especially in the modern age, like developers and stuff like that. Another one is The War on Talent. So it was written by an HR specialist, and it's about the hiring processes that you need to think about. So hiring starts long before you reach out to someone to hire them. Hiring really starts at the basics of your company, as what is your vision, what is your mission, where are you taking people, what's unique about you, why would someone that's great want to join your company? If I came to you and I said, hey, I want to hire you, it's $30 an hour, you would probably look at me like, what? Why? And you could be amazing. Like, Dave, I could literally, you're probably amazing at what you do. I would love you to join my company. I have to think tactically, how can I get a great person to join my company? Because most people aren't actively searching. So with that, you have to think, okay, so I have all these unique things. I have a unique vision. I can sell them on that vision. I have a unique set of benefits that they'll get. Maybe that's not financial benefits, but uniqueness. Like, I love to give the opportunity for books or education or learning. If you go to an event, I'll pay for it for you so that you can continue to grow and learn. So now I'm attracting people that want to grow their career and learn more and more. So think about those things. Then the next thing you want to do is, do you want to be a remote company? Do you want to be a local company? Like, what are your values inside of your company? Think about that. We're totally remote, so we allow our employees to work anywhere. We allow you to work at whatever times you want, as long as you work on some of our hours so that we can kind of all team up together. But besides that, we give you a great lifestyle. You can be with your families. You can work the weekends if you want. You can work late if you need. Whatever you want, we kind of work with you on that. So figure out what your culture is. That's a big piece of it. Then create a really great job post. I can't tell you how important this is. Like, our job posts alone attract so many great people, because we literally get emails that says, this job post is beautiful. It's amazing. Because we're using it as a market. It's just a marketing post. Like, it's just like you would do an ad and you would put time down into writing a great ad to attract a good prospect. You're doing the exact same thing from a hiring side. Now, the last thing you want to do is have a qualification process through that hiring. So have a qualification notice in your job post. So like, the first thing I'll do is have them answer a question or a problem that they have to reply to me with, so that if they read the entire job post, they're critically thinking about this and they're sending me that back. So instantly I'm like throwing away half my resumes because they didn't follow instructions. Boom, you're out of the pile already. Then we're getting on, I might ask for something specific also before we even get on an interview. Maybe it's like a past project or a resume or a question. So again, qualification. Then I'm doing a multi-tiered interview process. So I'm taking them through 2 to 3 interviews. I'm spacing them out. If I have a team already, I'm having my team interview them. And I'm being very diligent on this stuff because your team is your most prized asset, especially in the beginning of a company. Especially if it's just me, you and a developer. Do not hire quick. Hire slowly, fire fast, but be diligent to look for great people. That's the best advice I can give people.
Dude, I love it. So you're big on the people side of things.
100%, because at the end of the day, a company is just a group of people working towards one mission. And I can tell you from the hundreds of mistakes, well, maybe not hundreds, but from the many mistakes of hiring the wrong people for the right job, it'll hurt you more than it will ever help you to hire someone quickly that's not perfect for it.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And, when I first started hiring people, like, it would just be like, I'd shoot one Facebook message to somebody, be like, hey, dude, I know you're around. Do you want to work with us? And they'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, cool, let's just do it. And it's just like, that was my hiring process. And it quickly found, because I'm too busy to hire. I got too much stuff going on. And quickly realized that, like, if I'm going to spend time anywhere, it should be on hiring the right people. Like there is no better use of my time than to go through a thorough process and bring in those people assets.
Totally agree. I was reading somewhere, listening to some interview, and a lot of CEOs spend multiple hours a day of multi-million-dollar companies, multiple hours a day just in hiring. Like it's literally just sitting down and going into interviews and doing that and making sure that they're either out networking or trying to find great people that eventually one day they can come to the company, like kind of pre-selling them on joining their company one day. So I would definitely say as a CEO, one of your primary jobs should always be focused on hiring great people.
That's awesome. I love that. Very cool, man. Well, we can go into specifics, another time here. I'm sure everyone's going to be like, where do I post and what do I say and all that. But we'll just kind of keep rolling because I want to hear all about Demio here. So sure. I want to start this with the end in mind because I think with software, there's the question of what are you going to do with it? Are you going to try and sell it? If so, how do you sell it? When do you sell it? Or do you just want it to be cash flow and build it up that way? So I'm curious before we kind of go into the start is what's your end goal with Demio?
I think there's a fundamental thing wrong with that question. And I think it's that if you come into a business and you're coming into that business saying, I'm going to sell this business, then you're not focused on creating a great business for the customers. And at the end of the day, if you want a great business to sell, there has to be customers that love your business because that's everything that's what the sales is going to be based on. People want to buy a product that's great, but they also want to buy a product that's going to have customers that love them. So if you're thinking short term, like I'm going to build this quick and sell it, then you're already making a mistake. Go into it maybe thinking, I want to create a great business. And then the side part of it is if we get an offer that makes sense, then we can sit down and talk about a selling opportunity. But for the most part, you need to create a business that's going to work. And a lot of that is creating the operations, the processes, the resourcefulness that allows you to sell. So you can still think about those things, but you have to think customers first. So while that's out of the way, I think for us, we just want to create a great product. If we come along to an acquisition offer that makes sense, sure, we're open to it 100%. But at the end of the day, it's just how do we focus on our users and create a product that's great for them.
Very cool. Love that mindset. Love that mentality. Okay, cool. So yes, let's talk about Demio then. I mean, it's like, how did you get the idea? There's lots of webinar softwares out there. Why did you say, hey, we're going to go interrupt this market here? And just kind of what did that look like?
Yeah, honestly, it was 2 years ago. Me and my partner Wyatt, we were the co-founders. Both of us kind of came from a marketing and sales background, so we encountered a lot of problems with webinar platforms that didn't meet our needs. Across the board, we couldn't just find a reliable webinar platform built for marketing and sales that wasn't built on a Hangout software that had 30-second delays or outdated software that seemed to crash all the time. So we said, we can do this ourselves. We saw the pain points and we saw the frustrations in the marketplace. We actually saw it on Facebook. So it was kind of a validation there that people were looking for this solution. So we also were kind of naive about it. We thought, there isn't a good software in the mix. And I can say this now looking back, we were very naive to think that we could do that because honestly, it's been an insane journey. It's been 2 years of development. Live streaming is insanely hard. And that's probably why there
So
wasn't.
yeah, there's a reason that there's no good products,
Yeah,
and it's a tough problem to solve.
yeah, and it was a very tough problem to solve. So about the first maybe 6 to 8 months was a big fall through. We got screwed over by our agency that we hired to build out the software. Came out of that, started hiring our own team, built out based on our initial like engineers outline of what we should do. When we got there, we realized it was all kind of the wrong specs, that we had kind of built it the wrong way. So we had to basically start over again about a year and a half in. So
Really? Wow.
yeah, so it's taken 2 years, but we've really based our platform in the past, like I would say 6 to 8 months, with our core team. And the cool thing that happened was during this time, a new technology came out and kind of matured to the point that we could actually use it. So we actually kind of hit it at the good time, because at that time we were able to take that technology and build our platform now around it. Now, we really wanted to have a very low latency application, so you could stream in real time, have real time conversations, where it felt like a one-on-one conversation like we're having here on Skype actually, but you're doing this on a one-to-many. And then we're putting in a lot of the sales and marketing features and needs in, with a core base of simplicity and just a great experience from both creating the webinar to an attendee joining it. Because at the end of the day, the experience is everything. And some of these webinar platforms, they're creating a platform that you can join with lots of shiny features, but the experience sucks. Again, you have a 30-second delay, so you can't really have a real conversation. You're getting kicked out, you're dropping, or it's super ugly, and you can't really, it's not a good experience. So we're trying to solve all those different things.
Couldn't agree more. I run a program called the Webinar Boot Camp, and it's 6 weeks long. Basically, I've got over 100 people in there doing webinars, and the best option we have, so far is Webinar Jam, which has 1,000 problems with it. And I think where I'm at with it is, even though it's got some good features, I like how it can go into every webinar pretty easily and all that. The problem is these students don't get what they expect, and so it's like I'd rather have a product like what you guys are doing, that you get what you expect, even if you want a little bit more, even if I want some more features. At the very least, I can log in and run a webinar, and I know what I'm going to get. Whereas I feel like Webinar Jam is, they don't know what they're going to expect. They expect to do a webinar, and then they can't log in, and they get a setting wrong, and it's so frustrating that they can't even get what they expect. And so I think one thing, I was talking to Wyatt, I don't know, 6 months ago about Demio. I was doing a demo of it, and it didn't have some features that like we were looking for in a webinar at that point. And I liked how Wyatt handled it. He was just like, listen, like, that's okay. Like, we're going to get there. I just want you to know that like we don't have that now, but like wait and we'll have it. And he wasn't like trying to like sell me on features you guys didn't have. He wasn't like, oh, we're a week away. He was just like, listen, like, that's okay. We're going to be stable. We're going to be simple. It's going to be really clean. And I'll let you know when we get what you're looking for here, but we're going to do it the right way. I really respected that.
Yeah, it's 100% the way that you have to be with software. There's something called, from the Lean Startup, Agile. Well, it's not from the Lean Startup, but Agile development. And at the end of the day, the core concept is you want to build a MVP, a minimum viable product that you can get out to the marketplace to prove and validate your idea. And the validation process should happen first before you get there. But you're also, with the MVP, you're taking the core aspects of your software to market. And those things just have to work. For us, that's running a webinar, having people see your screen and be able to hear you, the recording working. Like, it's actually a lot more advanced for ours because we have a kind of advanced technology. But the core things have to work. And everything else, the features, all the small stuff, those things can come as you grow and progress, but the core things just have to work. And if they don't, then you have another fundamental issue with your software. And with Agile, you want to have your customers help you figure out the features that are most wanted. So what a lot of people do is they just go out there and they just build 1,000 features and they sell their product on features that they think that people want. So there's 1,000 features that, maybe one or two of them are really core features that people want. The other ones just kind of sit there and aren't used that much, but kind of make it a complicated software. And at the same time, their core things don't work that well. So they have an unstable software that's not really helpful that much. But if they had created the core stuff first and then built on the features that people wanted, it may have been simpler. It may have taken less time, but they have a software that people will love, use all the features, and then they're going to recommend that software.
Is that challenging to say no to a bunch of features that you know customers want? I'm sure you've got big names to say, hey, I just need this thing. Can you do it for me?
Yeah.
And you've got to have the discipline to say, well, no, not yet, because we're building something much bigger than just a little feature.
It is very difficult. It's something that you have to learn to do, though, that especially with development based on your budget. Like if you have venture capital, it's a little bit different because you might have a bigger team. But if you're bootstrapping, it becomes even harder because your budgets every month, your burn rate for that development team is only going to limit you to have, so much time to put in stuff. So you have this list of 1,000 things that you want to get in, and everyone's requesting things. You need to be very, very disciplined in priorities and really make an understanding of which ones are going to matter for the most users and what's going to give you the most bang for your buck, I would say. Like, we're going to put in development time now to do this one thing. Yes, it sucks. We have to put it off for 6 months, but we're going to get there. Yep. We'll get all those users back. And we know that, initially we're going to have some major sales objections when we do sales, and that's okay. The customers that come in now are going to be early evangelists. They're going to be people that are going to work with us, and we can give them a great experience still, and then they get everything along the way too.
Love it, dude. Love that mentality. So let's talk about launching it. When should you start talking about it? Should you have people help you with the MVP, or should you kind of do the MVP and then launch it? And just kind of what did that look like for you guys to go out there and do that?
Yeah, I would say we are not a model approach to how you should do a software launch. We did ours because we wanted to get out there faster. But what I would say for most people is that you want to build your MVP and you want to do a slower growth cycle. And the reason you want to do that is so that you can add those features as customers are coming in. So you can talk to more people, maybe on one-on-one, maybe on webinars. And on webinars, right, you're getting feedback from people that you're talking to. You can showcase the product on there. You can really fine-tune your marketing message. And during this kind of what we call the slow ramp, the cold winter, the slow ramp here as you slowly gain traction in your SaaS, is that you're learning and you're adding the right features in. The problem with a launch directly from an MVP is you might not have all those features out. You might not be stable yet. You might not really have your marketing fine-tuned. So you're putting in 2 to 5 months of time and pre-launch and all this materials for a big hit of a launch that you could just bomb on because you didn't have all those things right. You didn't have the right features in place that people really wanted for you to sell it. So for us, luckily, we had some good partners. We knew we weren't going for a gigantic launch. We were going for some initial traction in the marketplace. But I would say for most people, get the traction, validate the product price points, the marketing, the feature sets that you want. When you're getting testimonials back, you're getting signups, and you're feeling comfortable, then is the time to circle back and say, okay, now we want to do a product launch into the marketplace because we know the things that we know. We know the marketing, we know the angles, we know how to talk to people. You could even, during that time, give the accounts to great big affiliates, have them use your software, get their own results so that they can even promote it easily, and you have more time to get them prepped and ready for the launch as well.
No, I like that. So how important, you mentioned you had some partners on early on. I know I've seen different, I've seen Becker talking about it. I saw, ClickFunnels, told me about it, and it's a push notification recently. How important is it getting some of those bigger partners on to use it and test it and help you out with that to doing well at the beginning?
Yeah, I think it's very important. There's a variety of different traction sources that you can use to grow your business. For us, just one of the big ones that we've always looked at is strategic partnerships. And it's just because of the vertical that we're in, and we're a B2B software, and we're a B2B software that solves a specific purpose. And most of our users are using other marketing and business applications. So one of the easiest traction methods for us is to go after people that are already there and integrate with them. Now, the key thing here is being a great product and serving the customers well. So by doing that, we can attract strategic partners easier because it's not like we're just another Me Too software. Yep. We're actually doing something a little bit slower, doing it right, so that's easy for them to integrate with us. We're also going out of our way to make it easy for them to integrate with us. We'll do those training calls. We'll do training videos. We have an open API that's super simple for even the developers to understand and use. We've flown across the country to some of these guys to just meet with them and talk to them. And we set this stuff up in advance, pre-launching and talking about it. And the truth is, a lot of our customers have gone to some of these platforms and asked them for like the integrations, which really kind of spurns it for us. So that's really helpful. But it all, again, starts with having a great product that solves a great problem and really caring about the experience for your users.
I like that. I think as marketers, it's easy for us to skip over the good product part. And it's like, okay, like I want to build this software. Okay, what funnel are we going to use? What traffic source are we going to use? And that's fundamentally missing something. And it's just short-sighted. It's short-sighted. And I think with software, you've got the opportunity to build a really, really big business. And just skipping right to marketing is really going to crush you early on. So I think that's a cool approach.
Well, I don't want to say you can't skip directly to marketing. Because I think you should be pre-marketing, kind of, like I said, fine-tuning those angles, but don't overlook the things that matter for your users, like how you're going to onboard them. Is the software easy to run and use? Simplicity in itself for software is one of the hardest things that you can do. It's easy to make a cluttered, overcomplicated software. It's not easy to create a simple software that does a lot. So that's part of your marketing too, is
right.
that experience.
Yeah, that's kind of a new thought for me as we've grown some different software stuff, is that realizing that the funnel is oftentimes inside your software, right?
Yep.
It's not just buy the info product and then you're done. Yep. It's okay, like you're halfway through when you get them to sign up. And then how do you get them to convert and, reach activation where they actually are using the value of the software and understand that. So that's a really important thought.
Yeah, because once they come in, you got to get them using the software, like you said, become an active user. And then the next thing you have to do is keep them from churning, right? The next thing is keeping them activated over time. And then eventually you want to have a negative churn, which is when they're upgrading or adding more items into their monthly accounts and stuff like that. But yeah, it really never ends there.
Dude, very cool, man. I love that. So just thinking about getting users right now, I know kind of early on you guys are doing lots of demos, you're signing up. That was me, get on a call with Wyatt. It's like a labor-intensive process, right? Like as I think about growing software, like I don't get excited about getting on 45-minute calls with every user and showing it to them and getting feedback. But you guys did it. Are you guys still doing that? What was the value of that? And then like moving forward, are you going to use like, paid traffic? Are you going to, how do you grow it from here?
Yeah. So first in beta, coming into paid beta, we were doing a lot of one-on-one demos. And we were doing that, like you said, for feedback. We did so many demos. We would switch off all day just doing demos. It's a long day. But we did learn a lot from our users, especially when we did a reach out campaign to bigger companies. We learned a lot about what bigger companies and like bigger accounts that we eventually want to go after want and need. And also made us realize like, holy crap, like we probably can't go after them for some time because you need a lot of things like security and all these different features. And it's a totally different market. So it's something that we get to with maturity. But that was a big eye opener for us. The next thing was, like you said, feature requests and stuff like that, what people need, what people want. And also the angles for us for marketing. Super time intensive. I actually just wrote this huge blog post that'll be going out this week, which is 6 scalable sales campaigns that you can run for your SaaS. And so one-on-one demos is one of them. Another one is what we're going to be really focusing on moving forward, which is webinars. So driving traffic to webinars using Demio. Weird, right? Using our own product for it. But we'll do that where we can also have a lot of one-on-one conversations on the webinar, and then having it all interactive on that call. So talking about like how to do a webinar right, and then here's Demio, how to do it all right. And so we're going to be selling it there, giving a special discount basically on that call, a free trial to the account on the webinar. Now, what we did do, which was absolutely insane, was after our launch, we offered every single customer that bought during our launch a free walkthrough of the software. And I'm not kidding, for 2 weeks, Wyatt and I were booked for 12 hours a day, just talking to people nonstop. And it was so intensive, but we did learn a lot. Our users loved it because they got to get in and they understood everything. That personal touch was great. I just think doing that extra step and talking to your customers, it's just one of those things that is so invaluable. Like Steve Jobs used to spend hours and hours of his week in Apple stores, just going up to people that were touching the different tools and items and asking them their opinions and stuff, because again, as a CEO, getting the feedback from the customers is insanely valuable.
That's cool. No, dude, I respect that a ton. I know that. I mean, that sounds miserable, but but great. You know, these are the people that have gotten their credit cards out and said, "Hey, we support this. We believe in this," and I love that. I think that flows perfectly out of your customer, centric mindset. What are your thoughts? This is kind of a small thing. What are your thoughts on free trial versus a paid trial?
Well, I think it's interesting. I like free trials right now because I think people really like to have a low barrier of entry to make sure it's going to be a fit for their business. I think this is most appropriate when you're in an industry or a marketplace that has a lot of different software for them. They may already be in a software, so there is such a thing as the pain of disconnect. Like if you're moving from one CRM to another, you may want to try it out for free to make sure it's going to be a fit, that you like it, without having to. I think there's just that pain of disconnect maybe increased if you're putting down a card just to try it, versus having a free trial saying, oh, this is awesome, this is going to be great for our business, now we can activate. So that's what we're doing. We're doing basically free trials if you join our webinar to kind of quell that pain of activation. But it really depends on your marketplace and your niche, I think.
Do you have them put a credit card down or no?
Yes, you have to put a credit card down for it, but it's a free trial with that credit card, and then you get billed on the last day.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we've done with PayFunnels. Our mindset behind it, like I like free. I'd love to even do free, no credit card, someday. But I think early on we had to make a decision. And one, we decided we didn't want to handle all of the customer service that comes with everyone signing up. And I think it creates a lot more customer service to handle, and we just didn't have the capacity for that. And then two, kind of related to that, is we just wanted to hear from people who are at least willing to put their credit card in. We thought that would give us a different type of customer. Sure. And if we had to cut out all the people that wanted all the feature requests, let's just hear features from people who are willing to use it and at least get the credit card out and pay a little bit of money. And I think early on, as a small team, that was a good decision for us, just because you can only do so much in a day. But I eventually want to be able to kind of do totally free trials.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, we didn't even start with free trials at all. Like we launched everything with just a paid account. I mean, we pre-sold Demio in an event in April before our product was even halfway ready to go. I mean, you can definitely sell products without a free trial. You can do it prior to your release. You can do it with a bundle. You can do it in annual. There's plenty of methods to sell it as long as you're solving a major pain point. But I think when you're trying to go to scale and stuff like that, you have to start thinking of ways to solve some of the pain of activation.
Yep. No, very cool. Well, awesome, man. So just going into 2017 here, new year, you guys are probably thinking through goals and like what you want to do. I think you guys are in an awesome market. I know from a guy who deals with webinars all day that there's just not a great software out there. What's your plans for 2017? Where do you want this to go?
Well, I think we actually have a roadmap that's pretty laid out. That's pretty awesome. So we're just going to continue to knock out features one by one. We're really just trying to focus on being the greatest live webinar platform that we can right now. Our major focus is on just compatibility, feature additions. We're really going to be moving into also really cool hybrid and live webinar replays. So you can actually have, this is kind of something new to the replay experience that no other platform has, which is it's not evergreen so much. It's a live replay. So everything feels like you go back into the Demio rooms and everything's coming in at the same time, fully tracked. And that way you can easily just have, a live webinar that has all the marketing automation you need, and then the replays with all the marketing automation you need too. So it's a one-stop shop system. But just, that's really our major focus, and continuing to listen to our customers and just try to create. Again, the difficulty is trying to create a very simple platform with lots of power without making it complicated. Yep. So that's kind of our focus.
Do you have revenue goals or kind of growth trajectory that you're trying to hit in 2017?
Yeah, we do. Really, we just our major focus is getting to an MRR, a break even and above in the next 3 months, and then going from there to $1 million $1 million a year for the first year, and then from there. But trying to be conservative. I'm trying not to say too many of those numbers live, but
Yeah. Cool.
definitely something that we're planning for.
That's great. And then like, what are the metrics that you're watching? So MRR, you mentioned churn. I know those are kind of the two numbers that we think about a lot. What are the metrics that you are thinking about as you grow a business?
So right now we're looking at CAC, so customer acquisition costs. That's a big one. We're looking at trial to conversion, like trial to activation. We're looking at, like you said, monthly recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue, because we did have a lot of annual signups, so that doesn't necessarily relate to MRR, which is actually even better because there's not the churn of that. We're looking at churn percentages. We're looking at cancellations of the trial, and then also like reasons why there's that. And then trying to think what else there is. Lifetime value would be the other big one that we're thinking of. Customer lifetime value.
Very cool. No, it's super helpful. Awesome, man. Well, dude, this has been like just total keys to the kingdom here. Dude, you kind of rolled out the red carpet for us, so that's awesome, man. Dude, is anything else that you want to say or kind of even tell us about, Demio and what you guys are doing there?
No, I just think, definitely if you're interested in doing webinars, come check us out. We're going to be doing a lot in 2017, just so much amazing stuff, really trying to create something really special in the marketplace. So feedback is always welcome. We're very customer centric, so we love talking to you guys. And if you have any questions, always more than welcome to reach out to us. As far as you building your own softwares, I wish you guys the best of luck. There's so much resources and educational materials out there. So definitely take a look through all that. I definitely recommend, of course, validating things before you get started. I hate hearing the stories of people losing lots of money. I've been there. I've done the mistakes, so I know. But just, take it step by step and learn from your customers and build something your customers want.
Dude, very cool. And is Demio.com the best place they can check that out? Do you guys have a blog there too? I know you said you're going to release a blog post.
Yeah, we do. It's Demio.com and then Demio.com/inside. It's right on the menu there.
Okay.
We used to have we had a YouTube series. We had a camera guy follow us around building up Demio. It's called Inside Demio. And so we had like 20 some episodes of us building the company. Took that down, and now it's just kind of our blog journey with also blog posts of like what we're doing from marketing and sales. Like I'll probably write up a blog post about the launch and all the tips that we got from it and stuff like that. So if you guys want to follow us there, you can as well.
Love it, dude. Love it. Well, man, dude, thank you seriously for being so generous here. Like you didn't have to take out the time or break all that down for us. So, man, really, really appreciate that. And yeah, dude, excited to link up with you here down the road.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.